properties combined, both hemispheres of the mind to shine. Caucasians are in search of the hemispheres, or better yet, they're in search of the Holy Grail, and in the middle of the brain is the pineal, and around are the 12 pair of cranial nerves. Serves to break the 7 seals, raise the snakes of Christ. Taste the fruit from the tree of life. He who is pregnant with evil will receive trouble or give birth to delusionment. Niggas need mental development. And for slavery, we never received willy-nilly psychiatric treatment or a 40 mules and an acre for building this wicked government. The new world disorder, intense massive slaughter on the planet. The population 2.7 billion, according to the global report 2000. 3 million black men and women are locked down in prison. And across the nation, corporations are running and maintaining them is called privatization. Inmates will be used as cheap labor, paid 29 cents an hour, 100 million more Africans will be inoculated with the AIDS virus. A biochemical disease, man-made at Fort Detrick, Maryland, is caused by environmental toxins, animal byproducts, and lace vaccinations. It is germ warfare is best in the U.S. There is 6 million homeless. Some are experimenting on like guinea pigs and lab tests. Others, their bodies parts are being used in organ transplants. United States drug trafficking is estimated at $1 trillion. Like Marvin, make me want to holler and throw up both my hands. We can't just run from our problems. We'll find ways to solve them. We need more frightening and questioning. We need more ignorant of the earth changes and the habits. So we survive with time battling. Money, used cars, and question. And don't leave those. And don't let materialism, fears, and egos leave your third eye froze. Oh.
Take us home for the rest of the night. So sit back.
All right.
Testing. That's it? Testing. That's okay. All right. Now, first thing we need to do, we need to get a commitment going. These brothers, like I said, some of these brothers are coming from St. Louis, some coming from North Carolina. We got some people coming from Atlanta, and we need your attendance. Now, we go to conferences. Some conferences is $35 a day. Some conferences are $40 a day. Some conferences are $100 a day. We're talking about $10. And what we need you to do is to drop what you're doing the next 2 days, and please come out and give these people, you see what I'm saying, the help that they need. This is starting up a new generation of conscious speakers. You know what I'm saying? I'm acting as an elder, but that damn Alim is damn near about old as me, so I don't know if I'm no. That's the brother just spoke. He about as old as my ass. I've been knowing him for a minute. So yeah, I don't know if I'm no elder over him. But you need to come out and show your support. So I know tonight is a free night, but $10 ain't shit. You think so? Go to the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? And other than some candles and some water, you get laughed the fuck up out of there. We living on a strange world. Tide. Fucking washing powder Tide. Anybody seen this shit? Tide is damn near $10. You know what I'm saying? And it's $5 on sale. So I'm just trying to say, you all need to come out and support this, you see, and give up the money. The brothers brought this thing down to the skeleton crew. You see what I'm saying? As far as finances, you can't get lower than that. You know what I'm saying? I got speakers. Sometimes I speak, and it's $30, you know, just so that they can make the money. So I'm just saying, they got a lot of people coming tomorrow just for $10. At least you should do is to try to make it. Don't say that, you know, I can't do this. We always, you know, I can't do this and I can't do that. You know, black people can do what black people can do. You know what I'm saying? If there's something you're interested in, you come out in a minute. And we got to beat you all over the head to send you home. So please support the people tomorrow. I'm going to give a shout out to brother TJ coming up from Washington, D.C. He's, I want to give his occupation, but he see a lot of shit on, because he's a cameraman for ABC. Isn't that right? ABC in DC. So you know this man see a lot of stuff, and he also see a lot of propaganda. And the brothers had me come up to DC, and we've done a series called Black Mental Illness. We're gonna continue that. We got Black Mental Illness #3 coming up in a few weeks. So you can check out those Black Mental Illness series we doing and all. And he's got other things he's into. You know, we like we got this fetish that we like pretty feet. You know, pretty toes and shit like that and all. So you know how that go. That's a whole nother civilization there. And so, you know, and during the break at the end, you can sneak a peek at his sister toes and see what we talking about here. I know that's a little embarrassing, but goddamn it, you know what I'm saying? You know how it is. You'll see. You know what I'm talking about. All right, going right along. I got a few things here and all. I had to, you know, I usually never really sell stuff and all, but I had to become a bit of a salesman in the last couple of years and stuff just to stay afloat and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. The light man is always gaining on you. And the phone people, they called yesterday and shit. And all, you know. And some of these telemarketers are calling on Sunday. Anybody see this thing? These telemarketers don't let up. It's 7 days a week now. You know what I'm saying? So I become a bit of a salesman, but this is the stuff that is very important. This, as you've seen in my love video, which you gotta get, because the love video is turning out America. Everybody seeing this shit, falling in love, or either going into the realm of love, because there's some real deal stuff going on. So get the love video, and I advertise these two pictures. I'll put that up in a few minutes. I use the bathroom. I have to check sometime to see that I zip my pants up, because I was in damn Detroit doing a lecture, and they were sitting up there the whole time. An hour went by and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, y'all motherfuckers sitting here the whole time and you didn't tell me my damn pants was unzipped. So I got this paranoia because those black people, what they put me through. So, now, this is called the African Venus, and this is called the king, the Sudanese king. This is done by Charles Henry Joseph, a French guy in the 1800s. He went in 1854. He went in 1848, or 1848 or something. He went to, 1851. I think he went in 1848, and he did this sculpture of this brother in the Sudan. For some reason, he ran across this beauty and had to come back 4 years later just to sculpture her. These are museum pieces. So it's not like something you could just run down to your local card shop or gift shop and get. And for the Hemmitt Love Fund, as far as my whole welfare, so we put these things, I rescued these out of the museum in Baltimore. It was interesting because when I went to the museum, went to go see this Egyptian exhibit, I walked in the museum and the spirit said, hey, come over here and grab this brochure. When I grabbed the brochure, this was inside of the brochure. So she actually called out to me and said, I want you to rescue me so black people can see the beauty. Now the reason why I'm saying that here is when people like John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Asa Hilliard in the Afrocentric community said that that the black woman was the standard of beauty all over the world. This is the type of stuff that they were talking about before we fell victim to Eurocentric features. You see what I'm saying? So this is what they were talking about of a black woman as a standard of beauty. Now there was this discussion going on at Morehouse College in 1990 whether dreads originated in Africa or whether they originated mostly in the Caribbean or in the New World. And they had this thing said, well, you know, the boys wore dreads in Kemet until age 12, then they cut them. So they had this big debate, but this shatters that myth with no shadow of a doubt. This is 1851. African Venus. And you can clearly see the dreadlocks, or the dreads, or the locks. I'm going to put it that way. We say locks because, everybody, we say locks because people, they get all offended by the other stuff and all. But, but there's an old saying about the Maroon societies. They said that the white boy dreaded the locks coming. So that's still good. Yeah. So now, we have these. We'll be selling these the next 3 days. There's $20 for the set, $10 for one. But you can't get them anywhere, so you're going to help me pay my rent and everything else. Because the brother say, I need you to come up and be one of the elders of the event. So, you can help me out by doing this and also, now it's interesting because this sister, when people put it in the house, she starts to communicate with them. Now, I'll explain what this is, because everything we're talking about is based on Venus. This Venus energy that came in on June the 6th. So it's very key right now that this is appropriate to have this in your possession. All right. So I want you can get these. We'll sell out tonight. Tomorrow I'll have some more, and Sunday I'll have some more. But do this for the worthy cause. You see what I'm saying? My ass eating and stuff. So so you're gonna take the first two already, okay? With your bad self. All right, you're all right with me. I don't give a damn what they say about you. You're all right with me. I don't give a fuck what they say. You're all right with me. All right. You're all right. My nigga, my nerve, my strawberry preserve. All right. I also went to the museum in Atlanta. They had another Egyptian exhibit. That means that you're going to want to go down to the Brooklyn Museum, because a lot of the energy that's on the Camite and African things that's been in those museums for years are now reactivated, and you can get certain experiences from them. They had this Splinters of Egypt in Atlanta from March to September the 19th, which is another Egyptian exhibit, a Camite exhibit. And me and the sister Kimberly that you saw on the Hemmitt Summit, and my queen, Linda Babylonia, went to the museum to see this exhibit. And we ran across this sarcophagus of a priestess of Het-Heru or Hathor, which is also the goddess Venus. And they had her sarcophagus, which is the mummy casing, and they said that she was a priestess of the goddess Het-Heru, and then they had this doorway. And they said when you look into the doorway, they say you notice the doorway is walled up. So they had something like an Egyptian or Camite doorway. And they said, you notice that the doorway is walled up. And it was a doorway which was like a colonnade. And you see these on all the stuff, you've seen these all over Kemet, the colonnade. And there was a doorway. And they said, but this doorway was walled up. It was walled up. So they said that means it is not for going through physically, it's for astral projecting spiritually through the doorways. And they told you to project yourself spiritually. So we looked at this thing and went through this doorway, and as a result, the next day, we started cleaning out. The sister started discharging. You see what I'm saying? Shit started running. You see what I'm saying? Which is spiritual. And I started going through a transformation, start breaking out in hives, just itching and just and cleaning out and all this. And basically, a certain entity started setting through. But as a result, one of the sisters started having a bit of luck on the romantic department. Now, that means that because that was the goddess of love, the goddess of prosperity, and Big Mama, as they call in some cultures, certain things started happening in the aspect of romance. Now, but also romance can also be prosperity. So as a result, because we were in this Venus cycle that we are in, which is the return of the new Venus, we'll get into this in a few minutes. But the goddess of romance, or the goddess of love, came back, and we looked into the doorway. Once we started having a lot of aspects of things started happening in the department of love. So I know you sisters are very interested in that, and some of you brothers need some help in that department too, or at least in prosperity. So as a result, I said, man, I wish I had that doorway to take around so our people could go in and could stare in too. And the Spirit said, you already have one. You had it in your room for the last 10, 12 years, which is a big, huge picture about as big as half of this wall of the temple of Dendera. And there was a doorway, and they said, and I said, oh man, I do have one. So I asked the spirit realm, and I asked the goddess of love, which would be Urzuli, Sri Lakshmi, Aphrodite, Venus, Astarte, Amana, it goes on and on, or Het Heru. In this particular case, I asked Hathor, Het Heru, the goddess Venus, and which is also levels of Aset or Isis. I said, would it be appropriate at this particular time of the particular temple of Dendera that was drawn by Napoleon artists to act as a talisman, as a doorway that people could go through and find love, or open up the heart chakra? That's the mystery now. Opening the heart chakra, because the energy can't go to the next level until the heart chakra is open. You got to go through the heart chakra. You see what I'm saying? First of all, you got to love women, and you got to love the black woman. You see what I'm saying? Even if you're gay, you still got to love women. One has nothing to do with your sexual preference. You still have to love women. And you got to love the black woman for the heart chakra. But on the other hand, you got to love the black man. You see what I'm saying? Because it's vice versa. But anyway, we'll go back into some of that. But in so many ways, it was given, she came through and said, yes, if they stare into the picture, it would be the same aspect of the heart chakra. So I was able to go and get these particular engravings done of the temple of Dendera in Hemmitt, or the temple of Hathor at Dendera in Hemmitt. And all you have to do is to put this on the wall and focus into the doorway, just as we did. Certain things will start happening. So we got this going also for $5. You see what I'm saying? For $5. But then again, on the other hand, here's some other pieces. This is Napoleonic Egypt, and this book costs about, maybe now because it's out of print, it might cost you $300 just to get this picture. So therefore, you get the same thing for $5. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, this is another thing that you want to deal with as far as the prosperity aspect, as well as the matters of love. So some of you sisters want to get down with some of that. Also, I want to give a shout out to the god Vishnu, the goddess Krishna, the goddess Radha. Also, moving right along, what I want to do today, because generally this is really not my lecture, this is not my time, this is to set the stage for the young warriors to come in this particular case. But I want to set the stage on what's getting ready to happen, because this is very key at this time. Sometimes you got to see what the government is getting ready to do. So we need to find out just where we are when it comes to the government, and I'm going to give you some things to watch out for. Y'all all right? Okay, before we go into some stuff, let's go into some things right quick so you can watch out for, because they're going to trap you up in some stuff, because as of the last couple of years from 9/11 on into now, you don't have no rights. All that's been destroyed. You see what I'm saying? All that's been destroyed. There are no rights. All that's been signed away. They have had terrorist bill, this bill, the Homeland Security bill. They got all these bills as big as phone books. And basically you don't have no laws. So right now, everybody in America is reduced down to privilege. You have privileges now, which means there are no rights. That means the privilege can be, you see what I'm saying, revoked. So at that particular aspect, we need to go into some things that you need to watch out for based on the slick aspect of what's going down to try to understand how they're going to run this thing. And the only thing they're waiting for right now is to get over with this election or this new appointment. Because we know that John Kerry is the first cousin to Bush, and this is wide world wrestling. They go in the green room and laugh. Now, if you look at wide world wrestling, the way they carry on about each other is 3 times worse than Kerry and Bush. But yet they go behind the curtain and sit down and pop a cold one together. And you must understand the science. So these particular, they're in show business of mind control. Now, Discover magazine, ironically, is still on. It's been there for about a month now, but it's still on the newsstand. There's a whole section on mind control. You see what I'm saying? You had that whole Manchurian Candidate thing that came out, as well as all other types of movies on mind control. The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotted Mind with Jim Carrey. The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotted Mind. Also the last one, that one that just came out recently was a form of mind control. The Forgotten. Now, the mystery here is they go behind the curtains and they laugh this shit off. Now, we know that John Kerry was mentored for the Skull and Bones by George Bush Sr. See what I'm saying? Now, to show you what we're dealing with here, I'm going to read something to you. You remember the book, The Black Sun, it came out in 1997, and they said that we are all a part of an elite society, or we are subjects of an elite society, and they talked about the skull and the bone and how they went and they ate live pineal glands and pituitary glands, and even had the skull of Geronimo, and to get high off this stuff. Well, it's interesting because they didn't name no names. Well, here's something. I was in Detroit and I was telling them, that's how the spirit works. I was at this Melanin conference and I was telling them about them eating the live pineal glands. It's called the obscene rite. That was in the Black Sun. Also, there's a movie called The Satanic Rites of Dracula, which was the last Christopher Lee's aspect of Dracula. For those particular people that grew up in the 60s, we had a Dracula. Our Dracula was Christopher Lee. You see what I'm saying? So his last one was 1975, and in there they mentioned the obscene rites, which is the eating of the pineal gland, since we're dealing with melanin. It's called the Oregano Effect, is what it is called, where they eat the endarkened glands, or they eat the melanin for enhancement of some type of spiritual high. So that's the name they call it also, the Oregano Effect, where they basically take ground up pineal glands or whatever type of melanated organs and they put it over food and then over drugs and drinks. This is a high-tech vampirism on another level. It's called the Oregano Effect. So, so they talk about the obscene rites. Well, this is interesting. I was telling them about the obscene rites, walked out of the conference, got in the car, went to a metaphysical bookstore with one of my partners that I've been knowing up in Detroit for a minute, and ended up getting this material, got back in the car and opened the book, and always the book opens to the page, and I want to read what it says here. The pineal third eye has been found to contain a very fine granular particles, rather like the crystal in a wireless receiving set. They're talking about melanin. Many magical rites and meditation techniques are aimed at gaining control of this organ and fluid it produces. The live melatonin, rumor had the live melatonin. So this fluid that it produces is live melatonin, not the dead stuff that they get out and make into pills, but live melatonin, that's the key. The live melatonin. Rumors have it that a number of super secret societies, the Skull and Bones, which is Kerry and Bush, which both George Bush Sr. and George Bush Jr. belong, engaged in the ceremony called obscene rites. This involves the consumption of a live pineal gland of a human or animal sacrifice in order to get the fresh secretions. You see what I'm saying? So now, they get high on this stuff, and this book, they just straight up name it. George Bush Jr. and George Bush Sr. So they naming names now because they know that knowledge is so obsolete that you can't give it away now, so they can tell the truth. You see what I'm saying? So this book is called The Dragon Legacy, The Secret History of an Ancient Bloodline by Nicholas D. Vere, D-E, which is the middle name, and Vere, V-E-R-E, co-author of The Genesis of the Grail King. So it's called The Dragon Legacy. This is this book. It just came out. This is $30, page 381. Page 380 of blood sacrifices. The best blood is of the Moon Monthly, Aleister Crowley in the Book of Law, which they say that the best blood is of the Moon Monthly because they also know too that pretty much you didn't know this, and I know you religious people and stuff. That's why you die faster than anybody else and stuff, because that's you religious people don't know this and stuff. But menstrual blood can cure anything living on the planet. That's right. Now we know, oh, you don't want to mess with women when they're on their period. Yeah, well, you know, that's a whole different thing. But I'm trying to say here is menstrual blood, the menses, can cure anything on the planet. But this book, and I said that it also because we're still talking about the feminine energy. Like, take for instance, we got this new information based on what happened to the sister Aaliyah. And and you'll see you can get part of this ritual in the guy Quaker Mutwa from South Africa, and he talk about how you could take a young girl and put him in the bed with an old man. He could be sick or whatever, and they can draw the energy from the astral body of that young girl. It's like a vampirism, and that person can actually heal themselves, or they can be kept. That older person can be kept alive. Well, in so many words, this is what happened to Aaliyah. Because it's interesting, because the mother even knew. She had gone to several people, several psychics and several spiritual people to try to find out, because she knew that basically at the time when Aaliyah supposed had died, that was something wasn't wrong. There was something that was still going on, and she could feel it. Well, in so many words, what we found out was this is what happened to her. They was keeping her alive maybe 2 years. And they drained the energy. It's a vampirism. It's about the same as you saw the last thing in the movie that went down. They kept her alive for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, and that's what they do. And this is a rite that's even, like I said, the Quaker Mutwa talks about it. The South African shaman, and that she was kept alive, and she's now gone on because she asked several spiritual people to help her, including the sister Babylonia that I was with. Said she even got contacted. Aaliyah was coming and help her go to the next realm. So this is some things that these people are doing in the aspect of if these people eat live pineal glands, and these people don't give a damn about nothing. These are the people you're going to get in. Whether it's Kerry or Bush, it doesn't matter, because there is no such thing, a Democrat, Republican. It's ruled by secrecy. And those people, their job is just as a decoy figure to keep you confused. Sit down for a minute. One of the sciences of George Bush Jr. is called the trickster figure, or it's called the scapegoat figure. And this is a person like the drunken master. They make you think they're stupid and an idiot, And you focus on that and always, you see what I'm saying, distracting you from some other things that's going on. So that's his job. And he does it well. To make you think he's an idiot. Now, if the man was appointed, stands the reason that the powers that be would not appoint a person that is an idiot. That's dangerous. This man was appointed and he's acting out of role. Like I said, it's worldwide wrestling. You know, if you look at worldwide wrestling, basically that's what you got in America. They got all kind of characters. You see what I'm saying? Well, his thing is to act out this, what is called a scapegoat. To make you think. It was also in the movie, it's in a movie called 1997. What's the name of that movie? It's called, it's in a movie with Jack Lemmon and James Garner. They're running for president. I think, what's the name? Tell me the movie in a minute. Jack Lemmon and James Garner. My Fellow American. And the guy in there was a Dan Quayle figure that was ignorant, and come to find out he was the man running the show. And they was thinking he was stupid, and these two people was running for their lives because this cat here was running the show and was very dangerous. Well, it's the same concept here that's going on with this Bush character. That's the scapegoat concept. And you falling for it and all, thinking he dumb and stupid. And don't understand, these people don't run no shit based on what you can perceive is true. You understand where I'm coming from here? So this is some things that's actually going on in this book, Ruled by Secrecy, which I would suggest is the definitive text by Jim Mars. This is the one you want. This is the one that is the most advanced because most of the books that talk about the Illuminati and the secret societies were done by Christians. And it always get down to Satan and the 666 and all that bullshit. And they're actually dealing with Osiris and they're calling him Satan. So they always put the Christian garbage in there and basically destroy the whole concept of what's going on here. You see what I'm saying? These people are clever enough to know that this world is not run on religion. The universe is not run on religion in the ancient mythology of Adam and Eve and Abraham and Jacob and all that other shit. That's just mythology made, a sublime mythology makes grotesque history. So the definitive text is the one that came out in 2000 in paper, in hardback, was about $30, and this is the paperback version, which is like $15 by Jim Mars, Ruled by Secrecy. This is the one. Just to prepare yourself, you need to get this particular book and read the introduction. Read the introduction. The introduction is profound. When they talk about we have been taught a Disney history. Our view of history is a Disney sanitized history. You see what I'm saying? A Disney sanitized history. Let me show you something here. It says on page number 4, y'all all right? Yet, despite the length and breadth of the information highway, the average American remains woefully ignorant. That is not to imply that they are stupid or mentally challenged, because he's not going to talk about that. He's talking about the miseducated. He said they simply have not been exposed to the information now available. Many thoughtful, educated people in a variety of fields, physicians, lawyers, computer experts, stockbrokers, accountants, bankers, merchants, scientists, teachers, etc., are totally in the dark on a wide variety of issues and connections between them concerning who truly rules the United States. You see what I'm saying? Truly rules the United States. The primary cause for the ignorance is the lack to educate ourselves. And this is very key. The primary cause for such ignorance is the lack of time to educate ourselves. So you're going off for your fast-track career, and you don't have the time to sit down and study because when you get home, you're tired. You don't want to just sit back, pop a cold one and scratch your nuts or whatever you do. You know. So it says that to educate ourselves are the reliance on corporate-owned media, mass media, which does not present the information in all its broadest implications, i.e., the freedom, what said, the freedom of the press are for those whom the press, from those whom the press are the radio stations. Let me get this right. The freedom of the press is for those who own the press or the radio stations. You see what I'm saying? So, in so many words, this particular book is a book to arm yourself with, ruled by secrecy. Because this one goes from not only the secret societies, but on into the occult. So this is one that you need to deal with. Now, trying to understand this particular information, first we must understand what is happening after this election into the 2005s. Because remember now, this is 10 years ago. 10 years ago, in 2005, several things happened. Hale-Bopp comet came. They had a great heat wave that killed a lot of people in Chicago. You had that great day that black people celebrated when O.J. Simpson got off. I'll never forget it. October the 3rd, 2005. 1995. Now it's interesting here because the movie Alien and Predator, Alien versus the Predator, the whole event which started this family fight between the alien, which represents the black male, and the predator, or the alien who represents the black woman, and the predator who represents the black man, and the black woman standing in the middle of it. And at the end, I thought it was great the sci-fi movie come on where they don't kill us off during the credits. She was the last thing standing. But it started on October the 3rd, 2004, which was interesting because on October the 3rd, 2004, which was what, last Tuesday? Or something, last Monday, last Tuesday. Anyway, I woke up and my head was buzzing and the third eye was pulsating. I said, man, this is a powerful day. Well, I said, well, hell, I know it was because 10 years ago, especially, well, 9 years ago, but 10 years ago that's coming, that was a day that we'll never forget. And it wasn't because we loved O.J., it's just that, damn it, for one time, the system worked for us. You know what I'm saying? It had nothing to do with no fucking O.J. We got so wrapped up in that trial because the white folks in the media made us get so wrapped up until it was one of those things till he couldn't go to jail or be executed or whatever because it would have broke the energy in the hearts of black people. You see what I'm saying? So we know these things happen. So anyway, going right along, what we're talking about here is 2005 is coming up. It'll be 30-year anniversary of the ascension, the transition of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It was 30 years ago that the Jehovah's Witness, with my man gonna drop on Sunday, got a whole shit on Jehovah's Witnesses and all these fools, which was basically white supremacists. But it was 30 years ago that the Jehovah's Witness said that in 1975 the world was going to end. And as a result, when it didn't end, it broke. The organization was never as strong as it was, you see, after 1975. So it's a lot of things that happened 30 years ago. You see what I'm saying? A lot of things happened 30 years ago, and as a result, if you don't calculate it, the powers that be calculate it. So, in so many words, they're ready for Homeland Security. So let's give you some step-by-step things on what you need to look out for. Number one, stay out of, don't announce yourself as no groups. Number one on the Homeland Security, the Homeland Security Terrorist Act, the Moors. You announce yourself as Moors, well, congratulations. You are now a terrorist. The Nation of Islam. any Islamic group, any what they call subversive group, Hebrews, Moors, or any of this stuff. Any group, ASCAC is on there. Whatever groups you got going on, all your Hebrew groups, your Egyptian groups, your Camite groups, because what happened was Dr. York was arrested about 6-7 months after 9/11. I think he was arrested in April of 2002. Now, March or April of 2002. With the arrest of Dr. York, which I knew this was going somewhere, because they were setting it all up. They started setting this thing up in 1997 when they put him on the front page of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on a color widescreen picture, him dressed up as Osiris and all of that. And I said, wait a minute, the brother going to get in a lot of, I said, they're starting something here. We're going to see where this is going. So, first they had to introduce him to the world. You see what I'm saying? And so, and they had him on Fortune Time, they had him on Strange Planet. He was always a reoccurring figure on the news down in Atlanta. And I was following this thing. I said, they're setting up some stuff. They were setting up some things. So I said, now let me look at this. With the arrest of Dr. York, and I'll show you how clever this is. And everybody in this room is involved if you're conscious. Now just follow me on this, because this is very important on how they're coming after you. Hip-hop culture is #1 a terrorist group now. So all your little hip-hop shit, you got to be solo. Don't align with nobody, and you got to tell your children.
Bobby, they're doing the 30-year anniversary of hip-hop. Right now.
Oh, okay.
So, as you mentioned the 30-year cycle.
Now it's interesting because the hip-hop culture is, and one thing you got to understand something, hip-hop culture is now deemed terrorism. One thing you got to do with your children, and this is very key, you got to tell your sons, especially your sons, that you can't be hanging out on the corner or with 2 or 3 members of the male species, because we don't have any rights. You understand what I'm saying? And hanging out now is a terrorist, subversive act. Now don't be bullshitting around and say they can't do this. Just look at what they have done to you the last fucking 10 years. So you can't, so all this hanging out, you know you niggas like to hang the fuck out. That shit is a no-no in this country. Come 2005. That shit can get you in jail. Now they have the right to arrest you, try you, convict you, and execute you, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it because you've given up all your rights with these terrorist acts. So I got to understand what's going on here. So the hip-hop culture and all of this stuff, now let's try to understand what's going on here. Dr. York was arrested. It was clever how they did this. They said, now we don't have to go and write separate laws for each group when it comes to conscious groups. All we got to do is to set one man up and arrest him, and we can cover all of them. Now let's look. Dr. York was Ansar community. He was Islamic. Then it was Islamic Hebrews. Then it was Nubian. Then he became Egyptian or Camite. Then he became Moors. Then he became Chief Blackfoot. Then he became a Christian group. Became Washita Nation. I said, this nigga trying to come everything going. And last, he was the Masons. See what I'm saying? If you look at the span of the last 20 years, he became and declared himself a part of all that. It's a clever move. So when they arrested him, they said, bam, now we got the stamp and the seal on all the groups, because he was, if you in the Sarset Society, well, he was Egyptian. If you was ASCAC, well, he was Egyptian, a classical civilization. He was also Sumerian. You see what I'm saying? He was Hebrew for your Hebrew groups. He was Islamic for your Islamic groups. He was Moor for your Moorish groups. All you Native Americans, he was that. He was also Christian. Then he was Mason. So in so many words, he covered the gamut of secret society, and when they arrested him, which the ADL was the people who tipped the police off, because when they gave the celebration for the police who arrested him, they said we couldn't have done it without the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, because they're the ones that gave us all the information. So in so many words, they don't have to find a person affiliated with your Afrocentric group or your Sarset group or this new kind of Egyptian group or all these groups. They don't have to find a person in your group to commit a crime. Dr. York is already filled the void for you. It's a very clever thing. So as a result now, all of those groups are under the goddamn terrorist bills. And showing the fuck off gonna get your ass in trouble. Now mind you me with this dumb shit. All them goddamn Hebrew niggas standing on the corner talking shit is government agents. The Black Panther, the new Black Panther Party, you need to run from that shit. New Black Panther Party is #1 on the goddamn list. And what they do, they came out and said, we are in support of Dr. York. They held a whole goddamn conference in May. And they had all these people they invited to be a part of a conference with Africa Bambaataa and them. And when they got in the conference, it was a rally for Dr. York. Now you got to understand what's going on. I was even invited. Spirit realm said, no, you can't go to that shit. You see what I'm saying? So the next thing I know, they got some nigga running around. We want you brothers to come together. Now, this has nothing, now, I'm not, try to understand where I'm coming from here. We're not talking junk about other groups. We're just trying to show you how clever the white man can be, and you can't fall for the fucking okie doke. You understand what I'm saying? This has nothing to do with Dr. York, the person, or Rabboni, or whatever you call it. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a system that is above that is using that as a platform to send your ass to jail. Because he was Dr. York the singer, that covers all the entertainment group. Because there were certain rappers connected with that, that covers all of that. You got to be clever with this shit. They didn't have to arrest all the people. They only had to arrest one who just so happened to conveniently be every goddamn thing. You see what I'm saying? So they invited a bunch of us to New York this past May. I bailed out. And what they do, they got them up there, they thought they was having a con. Next thing you know, it was a rally for Dr. York. Now, it ain't got nothing to do with Dr. York. Dr. York is locked up. It don't have nothing to do with that. It's a clever way. Now, understand this shit, because you got to study the history of McCarthyism. History of McCarthyism is they deem you communists, the America Communist Hollywood, and there's a whole documentary called Scandalize My Name. Scandalize My Name is a documentary where they say, okay, we got this communism shit going, but what we're going to do, we're going to go into the black conscious community of the 1950s, the ones who are fighting for civil rights, and we're going to label them communists. And as a result, you see what I'm saying? These people never worked again. Some of these people went to jail. Now, in this case, it's called guilty by association. It's a whole goddamn movie on this shit with your boy, Robert De Niro. It's called guilty by association. And basically who you associated with, so they say you just was invited to a party. And the party might have two people in there talking about communism. You in the party drinking and having a good time. You go home and the next thing you know, 3 months later somebody calling you saying you got to go to the Senate on the House Senate Un-American activities. And you going, I went to a party. Well, I went to a lecture. You see what I'm saying? So you understand what's coming? It's clever. So now it's called guilty by association. So you got to understand what's going on. Once one brother called me and said, brother, we need your support. You know, they're locking up our black leaders, and we need you to help us come and protest the arrest of Dr. York and all this kind of thing. I said, well, brother, I want to help. He said, what? I said, let's do some spiritual shit. Let's do some magic. Now, they didn't want to hear that shit, because whoever the fuck was on the phone was working for the government. And they wanted me to say, okay, I'm going to sign my name. You see what I'm saying? I'm protected. See what I'm saying? Motherfucking government don't want shit to do with me. I'm anthrax, and I'm poison when it comes to the goddamn government. You understand what I'm saying? But you only on that level, because they done came after me 40 deep and couldn't even see a nigga. Twice. But see, it takes a motherfucker not being scared of the stuff that the white folks done train you against. You see what I'm saying? So I done went to the satanic stuff, and guess what? It's only our ancestors. I said, hey, it's us. We the ancestors. We're under this stuff they call Satan, ritual, black magic, and your people scared of it, and ain't nothing but the doggone underworld realm, the realm of Osiris, called what? The Black Rites of Osiris. You can get that in, go get Robert Temple's book. There's a whole section on the Black Rites of Osiris. But you're scared of all that. So you don't want to deal with that because you're scared of the devil. You see what I'm saying? So the point I'm trying to make here is, the way they're going to do this thing is they're going to call you terrorists. And so the entire Afrocentric structure is under siege and under observation. So what you got to do, you got to be clever. You got to, number one, go incognito. You got to do like these people who rule by what? Secrecy. That's the name of the game. They learned that from Hemmitt. You rule by secrecy. They say our ability to exist is to remain anonymous. That means I'm not saying that you can't go to meetings and you can't deal with what you got to deal with. You just can't announce yourself. So are you more? I ain't none of that shit. Or I am all of that. You see what I'm saying? I'm in dirt. No, none of this shit. I'm a ghost. I don't exist. You see what I'm saying? I don't exist. You got to do this and all because the simple fact here, when they roll on you based on McCarthyism, it's all based on who you're affiliated with. You see? Now the other thing is, don't take no AIDS test. Because AIDS is now under the terrorist bill. If they come in and you take an AIDS test, which you're going to come back positive because the simple fact, that's what the AIDS test is created for. And once you come back positive, then they say, hey, you are now a terrorist if you have sex. See what I'm saying? You're now a terrorist if you have sex, if you come back positive. So you got to get out of that shit. You see? You got to be clever when it comes to this type of stuff, but you can't announce yourself as none. You got to get off the fucking ego. Because in all these bullshit groups, whatever they are, you were something way before they even existed. And the shit that you were before they existed, you call evil. When they talk about the primordial beings or those monsters, shit that you don't want to be. You see what I'm saying? Remember I told you about the sister? She was all this and all that. A sister out in California. More of this and more of that and indigenous this and all that. And they locked her ass up and they let her out. Then they was getting ready to lock up again, and she came and said, by my father Lucifer, I can't pay these goddamn taxes. And she ain't had no more problem with them. They know much as black people scared of the devil, and this motherfucker talking about Lucifer. They know, wait a minute, hold on. This might be one of these bitches who we might not be fucking with. You see, we want to fuck with the wrong ones. You see, this might be another Marie Laveau on the ass, who they go to arrest her and they can't find her house. Well, that's the kind of shit they did with me after 9/11. Couldn't find the house. And I was standing right on the front porch and they couldn't even see us. You see what I'm saying? They couldn't even see us. So you're going to need to get with some of that stuff, but all this other shit going to land your ass up in the jail being somebody's bitch because y'all egomaniacs with all these damn groups. It's time for you to come out of these groups because you are primordial beings that's higher than these groups. Don't associate yourself with nothing. You know what I'm saying? So don't sign nothing, don't associate yourself with nothing, and all this organize. Don't organize shit. Say, I'm solo. Now you can do some shit underground, but your ability to exist has to remain anonymous. It's got to be suppressed. You see what I'm saying? So this is how you're going to have to roll with this type of stuff. Y'all all right? Because this is how they're coming. Try to understand this. Now, going right along, y'all all right? Because I want to get this thing going. Going right along. I'll go through some other stuff in a few minutes. I want to give a shout out to the sister here, Charlotte. This is a sister who lives out in San Francisco, so she came across the country. But she's from New Jersey, right? Where you from? Where you originally from? You know, you're originally from San Francisco. You were staying here. You originally from here. Brooklyn, but where was you born? Right, and you lived here. Right, you came here, and now she's back in San Francisco. I want to give her a shout out because the sister, she did this motherfucker sent me $400 one month, and then paid my rent the next month. So anybody for me to buck dance to, it was a motherfucker who paid my damn rent. So I want to do that. All right. Shit, yeah, so, you call me Bubba or whoever. Love slave. All right, let's deal with some stuff right now. I want to deal with some things right now. Y'all all right? Okay, right now on, remember, guilty by suspicion. That's very key because Bush came out and said we're going after spy organizations. And the way they got it worded in Homeland Security and all this Al-Qaeda stuff, that's you. You see what I'm saying? That's you. So that's one of the things. It's interesting here because there's a group of traditional healers over in Africa curing AIDS. But in order for them to get the TV special done here in America, they had to go along with what the CDC said, that there is no cure for AIDS. So they had to say, well, there is no cure, but we don't have no symptoms. Well, goddamn, if you don't have no symptoms, then you cured it. You see what I'm saying? Then you cured it. So, but still yet they were talking about these traditional healers, and in so many words, not only it was dealing stuff with a combination of herbs and all this, but it was also dealing with things based on the spirit world. Based on the spirit world. You see what I'm saying? I'll go into some of that type of stuff that happened to me recently. On that. I talked about it last time I said I'll go back into a few minutes about that. One thing happened when I went to look in that doorway in the museum is overnight, within a matter of days, I became allergic to soy. What is this? Now I'm like, wait a minute now, I pretty much can eat what I want. Something is going on here. And I said, wait a minute. I said, whatever the entity was in me started rejecting soy. I started breaking out. My face started swelling up. My lips started swelling up, looking like bubble and shit, big, stuff like that. I said, wait a minute. Now something is going on. They're trying to tell me. I said, this is a breakthrough. They're trying to tell me. They're trying to send me a message to tell the people. Okay. Which was interesting here because when I went to Baltimore last year to do a lecture, they had a Chinese shop on every corner. And they 24 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? And we know that the Asians never eat what the hell they serve you. See what I'm saying? Never eat what they serve you. Okay. So when I became allergic to this soy products, I said, wait a minute, something is going on here. So I asked Dr. Ann Brown was at the Melanin Conference. I said, now what's up with this whole soy thing? And she was explaining to me that the soy that we get wasn't the soy that George Washington Carver was talking about. The soy that we get is synthetic. Remember now, this is the shit they make plastic out of, first of all. And I say ironic because you got to go through something to understand the culture. By me being a vegetarian for a number of years, for a while, you know what I'm saying? That becomes 90% of most vegetarians' diet. Now, unless you're vegan, you eat that shit all, and I never threw up as much again as I did when I was a vegetarian. Because of this soy products. Now, because they're producing this stuff and they're mass producing this stuff, the way it's grown it's a form, it becomes synthetic. And they can, most people, herbalists, dietitians or whatever can tell you this thing. And so in so many words, it's not the organic aspect, especially if it's going to fill the shelves of every supermarket and on every corner. So we talk about, and we're talking about a conspiracy by being on every corner, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, this shit is now covered. It's in every product that's cheap. So now if you go to the store and you will see, especially all the generic brands, if you go to Safeway, you will see, whatever your supermarket is in this area, you go to Safeway and you will see Miracle Whip, and then you will see Safeway brand of salad dressing. If you turn it over, you will see the Safeway brand has soy oil in it, and the Miracle Whip doesn't. So if it takes buying the most expensive product, because they're banking on black people, that's why they give you those cards. I don't know if they give you, like they down there, they got a Kroger card, and they put all these products on sale, real cheap. And if you got the little card, you can get whatever it is. Well, they get these the Safeway card here. They got the same thing. Those products that they're giving you, the cheaper products and stuff, they're giving you the generic products. They all are aligned. If it's a sweet product, you know it's high fructose corn syrup. If it's outside of that, it's soy. The soy is in every single product that's cheap. So you'll go and you will see Hunt's ketchup. No, you'll see Hunt's tomato paste, and it'll have soy product or soy oil. But the Prego doesn't. So that means if it takes buying something that's a little higher, because they're going to bank on you buying the cheap shit. And it's in everything. And so I said, wait a minute, hold on. Why are they doing this? And they said, well, a cheaper product? No. They know that black people, it's basically for us. We're talking about a warfare animal. And they know that you're going to buy, our people, especially our dead people, they're going to buy that cheaper one. And I'm telling you that the synthetic soy has something to do with the shutdown of the melanin. See what I'm saying? So when I became allergic to soy, you see what I'm saying? After eating it for fucking 10 years, and then becoming allergic, then all of a sudden I said, okay. And lo and behold, there's Nexus magazine now is talking about soy allergies and the conspiracy to suppress the amount of soy allergies. So that's the next thing that's shutting down the melanin, because it's liquid plastic. This shit get in your system and it is devastating. And that's why the Chinese shops are on every corner. Now it's interesting here because they got a cartoon out. My brother called me from San Francisco, from Oakland, and said there's a cartoon, and one of the characters in the cartoon is called Killer Tofu. Killer Tofu. And Nexus magazine put out a series of articles in 1999, as well as the leading health research group. Those people put out the Matrix books. And